During the Tournament of Power, Goku demonstrated that when placed under extreme pressure, he could access the power of the gods. In the anime, this power can be said to surpass even the god of destruction himself. Don't worry about the power scale of Goku's Ultra Instinct in the manga, as this story will follow the continuation of the anime storyline. Although Beerus felt relieved that his universe won the Tournament of Power and pleased Zeno in the process, he couldn't shake the strange thoughts in his mind. These thoughts were briefly set aside when a Saiyan known as Broly arrived on Earth. Broly possessed power nearly on par with Beerus himself, and the combination of Goku and Vegeta was already sufficient to confront this rough Saiyan. However, the situation began to spiral out of control, even though Beerus might have been able to handle Broly alone. Dealing with the combined Saiyans was a different matter. Beerus could easily instill fear in Vegeta, but Goku was not easy to control. Goku went to Zeno's palace without Beerus' approval. His overly friendly demeanor with Zeno posed a threat to the entire universe. Beerus was not only concerned for his own safety, but also feared that the universe he ruled might be in jeopardy. When the situation with Broly concluded and the wish was returned to Beerus, he informed his attendant that he would no longer be as tolerant of humans. He had been too kind to humans and was starting to feel weary. It was time for him to set an example of what he could do. He nodded and said, "It's up to you, my lord, but I hope you don't regret this decision." Beerus brushed aside the idea that he could ever make a mistake, and Whis chuckled to himself, considering that Beerus himself wanted to keep a closer eye on the two Saiyans. Beerus asked what was so funny, and Whis replied that nothing was important before leaving Earth for the last time. A few days passed, and Goku teleported from Vampa to Earth. The events of the Broly movie had concluded, and Goku provided supplies to Broly, Chilai, and Limo so they could lead a good and healthy life wherever they went. As he arrived on Earth, Bulma found him and informed him that Whis had called him to go to Beerus's planet immediately. Using his communicator, Goku contacted Whis and asked if everything was all right. Whis told him that he had some training for Goku to better control and understand Ultra Instinct. This request came directly from Beerus, so Goku needed to leave today. Goku started to feel excited at the thought of finally mastering that power, so he said he would leave soon. Whis offered to fly him there, but Goku said that he had improved in sensing the Kai of the gods, so he could get there on his own. He said, "With instant transmission it will save me the trouble. But before you go, it might be best to say goodbye to your family, as this training will take some time." Goku understood and closed his communicator. He told Bulma that he would be gone for a while and asked her to take care. Bulma wished him success as he teleported away. In an instant, he was gone, leaving Bulma standing there with a sense of unease before she could figure out what was bothering her. Bro started crying, so she went back to her daughter rather than dwelling on it. Goku appeared outside his home on Mount Paozu, entered, and was immediately attacked by Goten, who wanted to hug his father. Goku lifted Goten and told him that he would be training with Whis for a while. When he returned, they would go camping and catch a big fish to eat. Goten was very excited and hoped that the training would go well so that his father could come back soon. Goku assured him he would do his best and asked where Chi-Chi was. Chi-Chi emerged from the kitchen and was slightly annoyed with Goku for leaving again to train. However, Goku explained that this was a direct order from Beerus, and he might genuinely destroy the Earth if he didn't go. Chi-Chi told him it was okay, but asked him to at least pretend not to be too eager to train again. She kissed him on the forehead and wished him success. Goku said he would master Ultra Instinct and show it to Goten when he returned. Goten was thrilled once more, and Goku waved goodbye as he teleported away. Before heading to Beerus World, Goku stopped by Gohan's house. He took the opportunity to hold his grandchild and informed his son and Piccolo, who was visiting, that he would be gone for a while to master Ultra Instinct, as previously explained. Gohan asked his father what this was all about, so Goku elaborated on the situation, just as we've mentioned earlier. Piccolo asked if Goku found it a bit strange, because Beerus usually demanded something in return for the use of his world. and it didn't seem like he cared much about Goku's training. Gohan agreed and asked his father if he was sure everything was normal with Lord Beerus. Goku thought for a moment and said, "I think Beerus has always wanted a true rival, like in his dreams or something. So maybe he believes that training me to master Ultra Instinct will help me reach that level faster." Gohan trusted his father's instincts and asked him to master Ultra Instinct quickly. When Goku returned to Earth, Gohan would have surely created and mastered his own new power. Goku told his son that he couldn't wait to see it and bid them all farewell, lifting Pan into the air as if she were flying. Before leaving, by touching his forehead with his finger, Goku quickly located Beerus's god, Kin, and teleported to his planet. Gohan asked Piccolo if he was sure everything would be okay, but Piccolo told Gohan that he had to trust what Goku said. They had to trust Goku's instincts. Here, Goku arrived in the new world and was immediately welcomed by the two of them. Goku apologized for not being able to bring food on such short notice, but Beerus said he wasn't hungry. They needed to be prepared for the possibility of another tournament of power with opponents like Giant, so mastering Ultra Instinct was their top priority to protect Universe 7. Goku exclaimed that this was the reason he had requested this training, and Beerus turned away, saying, "Yes, I know you must have a reason. The others may be somewhat worried, but I've always known you're a good person." Beerus didn't respond further and simply instructed Whis to start their work before leaving. Whis nodded and asked Goku if he remembered the dimension inside Whis's staff. Goku replied, "Of course. It's where I mastered God, Kai, and discovered Super Saiyan Blue." Whis informed Goku that he would be returning to that realm, but Whis had altered it so that it required a calm heart and mind to move within the dimension, not just God Kai. During the Tournament of Power, Ultra Instinct Goku had erupted uncontrollably, and it had backfired on him. Now he wanted to try so that Goku could access the ability and form properly. Goku was about to ask about food, but before he could, Whis transported Goku into the staff, where he began to float aimlessly and couldn't move on his own. He realized that this time the physical constraints were represented by chains holding him in place. "This is where I will master Ultra Instinct," Goku thought, and he decided it would be best to start by calming himself down. Meanwhile, outside the staff, Whis approached Beerus and informed the God of Destruction that everything was now complete. Goku would never be able to escape the limitations of that dimension again, so he would no longer pose a negative impact on the universe. Beerus breathed a sigh of relief, but Whis asked why he didn't just destroy it. "My lord, that would be a much simpler task than managing all of this," Beerus responded. He instructed Whis not to question him, but if Whis wanted to know that foolish mortal and his naive outlook were a danger to everything they had. At the very least, he could say his farewells during his stay and enjoy the limited time left. In contrast to Goku's previous training on this world, Whis couldn't leave his staff within that dimension alongside Goku. So Whis placed a quantity of food within the dimension itself, as requested by Beerus. This was intended to appear as an accident to Goku as much as possible. To those in the real world, it served as a reminder that the God of Destruction had duties to perform beyond all friendships. Nearly a year had passed, and Vegeta asked for the communicator from Bulma. He wanted to resume training with Whis because he had been stuck at home for too long. Bulma handed it over, but Vegeta quickly realized that nothing happened. He asked if Bulma had broken it, but she explained that she hadn't touched it since Whis used it to summon Goku to Beerus's planet. Beerus had ordered Goku to train, and after that, there had been no news. Vegeta was surprised to hear this and asked if there had been any word from Goku since then. But Bulma told him that this training would take a long time. He was asked to even say his goodbyes to his family. Bulma told him that she had been distracted, but as she said it, she felt a great unease. Vegeta told her that she might be right, and there could be something amiss. He asked Bulma to give him the Dragon Raider. He needed to collect the Dragon Balls because he had no way to get to Beerus's planet on his own. Shenron should be able to take him there or at least bring Goku back if he was in any trouble. Bulma handed him the radar and asked him to save his friend. He nodded and flew off, while Vegeta sought to collect the Dragon Balls. Back on Beerus's planet, inside Whis' staff, Goku was floating with great difficulty. He could barely control his body's movements, but it was enough for him to search for food. By standards, he didn't eat much, just enough to survive. The problem was that time passed faster within Whis' staff, and Goku didn't know how much time had actually passed for him. It felt like years, but it could be shorter or longer. It didn't help that no matter how hard he tried to keep his heart and mind calm, the chains kept reappearing, and the longer he stayed inside, the more suspicious he became of Beerus's motives, which only heightened his emotional suffering. But he dismissed those thoughts, perhaps naively assuming that Beerus's suspicions were part of his training. Back on Earth, Vegeta successfully collected all the Dragon Balls and summoned Shenron. Shenron asked what Vegeta's wish was. Vegeta got straight to the point and wished to be taken to Beerus World, but Shenron started to sweat and told him that he was not allowed to teleport someone to the God's world. Vegeta then asked to bring Goku to Earth. Shenron said that wouldn't be a problem. His eyes gleamed and he searched for Son Goku, but then his eyes dimmed and he apologized. The dragon told Vegeta that Son Goku was in a place that Shenron's power could not reach. Vegeta asked if that meant Goku was on Beerus's planet, but Shenron shook his head. If Goku were in Beerus World, all he would need is Goku's permission to move him to Earth, but currently Goku was not in the normal living universe. This was not the news Vegeta wanted to hear. Whatever had happened to Goku was worse than Vegeta had initially thought, and those wishes were his only plan. He quickly thought of a backup plan and requested to establish a telepathic connection with Beerus himself. Shenron began to sweat and asked if there was another wish that was more desirable. But this was all that Vegeta needed. There were no rules preventing communication with a god, so he told the dragon to do it, or Beerus would be his smallest concern. Shenron gulped and initiated the telepathy between the two. Shenron apologized as he entered Beerus's mind and told him that he was forced to connect them both. Vegeta told Shenron to be quiet and asked Beerus what he had done with Goku. Beerus let out a long sigh. "You humans have become too familiar with me. Who would have thought you couldn't understand hints? What are you talking about, Beerus? You're the one who sought us out." Beerus became angry and told Vegeta that he had only taken advantage of them, but they had all become too comfortable, especially Goku. "So take this as your final warning, Saiyan. I showed kindness to Goku and didn't destroy him. You will not receive the same kindness." Vegeta was now furious and told Beerus to come and face him. The Earth's warriors had become stronger recently, and Beerus wouldn't be allowed to do whatever he pleased to any of them. Shenron then ended the communication at Vegeta's request. Trembling, Shenron asked if he could go, but Vegeta said not yet. He still had 2 more wishes. Meanwhile, Beerus was consumed by his anger. The plan had completely failed, but he couldn't back down now. He told Whis to retrieve his staff, and they headed for Earth. It took 30 minutes to reach Earth, and during that time, Vegeta gathered all the people they had. When Beerus and Whis landed, the god of destruction stepped forward and told Vegeta that even this small resistance wouldn't be able to harm him. If he wanted, he could destroy the entire planet right now, but he would indulge them in a fight. All the fighters for Earth began to unleash their power. They had Piccolo, Tien Shinhan, Master Roshi, Krillin, Android, 17 and 18, Yamcha, as well as Gohan and Vegeta leading the group. Gohan transformed into his ultimate form and politely asked Beerus to bring back his father. There was no response from Beerus. Vegeta transformed into Super Saiyan Blue evolution and started advancing. "Have you forgotten that we pushed our limits during the tournament? You might do it a few more times, and you'll have a chance." Beerus charged past Gohan and Vegeta to quickly dispose of the weaker fighters behind. Only Android 17 managed to evade his attack, but only barely. Vegeta swiftly turned around and attacked Beerus. They exchanged blows, but it was clear that Beerus still had the upper hand and was toying with Vegeta. Gohan and Android 17 jumped in to assist. The three of them worked together to try to exploit any weaknesses they could find. Beerus chuckled to himself, easily dodging or parrying most of their attacks, until he was hit by a massive energy ball in the back. After the smoke cleared, Beerus admitted that it stung a bit. He turned to see who had attacked him, and he saw a row of fighters he had previously defeated, all looking fresh and unharmed, as if nothing had happened. Now, he was getting frustrated. He looked around for something unusual while keeping an eye on Vegeta, Gohan and Android 17, until he noticed Mr. Satan and Mr. Popo. Now, everything started to make sense. The Earth's god was a Namekian, so perhaps he had healing abilities, while Mr. Satan was Boo's caretaker, and he had witnessed Boo's own healing powers at the Zen exhibition. As Beerus's eyes were focused on the battlefield, Vegeta seized the opportunity and shouted, "Now, Krillin, quickly fly up and use Solar Flare X100. Vegeta's ability to sense God Ki was also momentarily disrupted by the attack, giving them a little time at least, while Beerus frantically waved his hands around to dispel the effects. Now, he was furious. He yelled that he had played around enough, and when he was done with them, this remote planet and everyone on it would be destroyed. But that was a wrong thing to say. A tremendous ki started to awaken, and it wasn't from any of the fighters Beerus had seen before. Someone else stepped up. "Do it now, Broly." When Beerus had to turn, Broly was already right in front of him in his Super Saiyan full power form. Gohan asked Vegeta what they should do next, and Vegeta told him to hope that Broly was enough to face Beerus. As Shenron was summoned, Vegeta used his 2 remaining wishes to teleport himself to Broly's location and then move Broly, Chili, and Limo to Earth. He didn't like having to sacrifice Chili and Limo, but if he didn't, Broly wouldn't transform as needed. Broly gave his best fight of all, and Beerus even complimented him, saying he might truly surpass the new powers with more training. When Beerus delivered a powerful blow, Vegeta told him to stay alive so he could keep training. Beerus said that reckless attacks like that would never defeat him. This was their last effort. They did all of this for Goku, and if Broly wasn't enough, it would all be in vain. As Beerus was about to finish off Broly, he dropped the Saiyan King to the ground, almost lifeless. There was no hope left. Vegeta told everyone to prepare, as this would be their final battle. They were all nervous, but ready to die for what they believed in. Vegeta apologized to his family in his thoughts, hoping Beerus wouldn't destroy Earth after killing them all. As Beerus flew in to finish them, a bright light enveloped the area. Beerus initially thought it was another solar flare, but this light was different. Whis shouted at Beerus, but his voice couldn't be heard over the lights flashing. Then Beerus saw Whis' staff beginning to vibrate within the light, and it cracked. Emerging from the light was Goku with brilliant silver hair, in his perfected Ultra Instinct form. Beerus was taken aback and asked what Goku thought he was doing. He sealed the Saiyan for the greater good of the universe, but Goku remained expressionless. "I used to think that everyone would be better off without me too, but taking out just one person doesn't solve anything. You have to face your problems head-on. So, face me, Beerus." From Goku's perspective, he had been trapped within the staff for several years, which gave him more than enough time to master Ultra Instinct. He smiled, and Beerus shouted at Whis, asking if this was his doing. "Well, my lord, you ordered me to make him convincing, so I gave him some training advice while he was confined." Beerus was annoyed but couldn't lose focus now. If he was lucky, this power was only temporary, like in the Tournament of Power. Perhaps he could outlast Goku this time. However, before that thought could finish, an attack landed. Beerus didn't even see it coming. Goku was faster than during the Tournament of Power, and his strikes were sharper. "This is bad. I can hear some things from inside the staff. Did you really do this for the sake of the universe? Or are you afraid I might defeat you?" Beerus didn't answer and continued to try and fail to counterattack. "I don't think you're a bad person, Lord Beerus, and I don't want to become the god of destruction. So, end this now." Beerus stopped his punch halfway and fell to the ground, admitting defeat. When that happened, Goku reverted to his base form, and everyone gathered around him. Vegeta went to retrieve Boo or Dendi to heal him, but Beerus stopped him and asked Whis to do it with a touch of the newly repaired staff. Beerus made a full recovery. "You may be naive, but you truly are my greatest rival. If you choose to forgive what I've done, I promise I won't do something like this again." Goku asked Beerus about his plans now. "Well, I can't let a mere human surpass the god of destruction. I must start training again and face my issues head-on." Goku smiled as Beerus and Whis flew away. Broly had been healed by Buu, and Goku took Broly, Chile, and Limo back to Vampai. Piccolo was annoyed and asked how Goku could just let him go. Vegeta added that he could return and do the same in the future, but Goku just laughed. "I think you both should know that people deserve a second chance." They both fell silent and left. Goku said he needed to see Chi-Chi and Goten. He promised to show them Ultra Instinct once he mastered it. So, as if nothing had happened, Goku teleported to Mount Pauser. Meanwhile, as Beerus and Whis flew back to Beerus's planet, Whis pondered silently. So, despite all that happened, he still refused to become bitter. Perhaps his purity and mischievous heart made him the perfect candidate for achieving a tranquil heart after all this. And that's how the story of Beerus's betrayal of Goku came to an end. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you so much for watching.